Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, second chapter, verse number 8, the age of colors. Rajihi Lugdai Rajanaya, Nirgunaya Vasudharma Bhihu, Achinna Dara Brahmana, Yasati Giri Kanmanam. Translation: losing their wives and property to such vicious and merciless rulers who behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizens will flee to the mountains and forests. Omagyansmiram dasya janarjana salakaya chakshi militam yona tasmai shri gurave namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam and Yenabhutala Swam Rupa Padam Mayam Tadati Swam Tadati Kam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here, what you're reading is already happening. We have a world governed by thieves, rogues, and various kinds of criminals who, in the name of leaders, presidents, kings, parliamentary personalities, are ruling the world. And they just sapping the life out of the citizens through various types of programs to get money. Taxes will continue to increase. Shortages of food will continue to spiral. And people will be at the hands of these merciless and greedy rulers. People will leave their home, hearth and home, go to the forests, go to royal areas simply to be free from these persons. And this is, we're already seeing this in the age of color. This is only 5,100 years into Kali. We see the rulers of the countries are not able to rule. We had an example in one very important country in the world, the United Kingdom, where they elected a ruler, and she was in office for 44 days, and they threw her out because she was favoring tax-exempt statuses for rich people and increasing taxes for the small. Somehow there was enough power in the parliamentary to recognize, and there's other reasons. So that was just an example of what happened just recently. And then there's many other countries around the world with such despotic rulers everywhere. And there are a few countries who have some saintly rulers, such as India. We have a good leader here in India. He is pious, religious, and he's generally concerned about the welfare of the people. But he has to fight against so many other opposing elements within the government, even within his own party. So it becomes hard for him to do anything beneficial. But in essence, India has a good leader, and he's inclined to religious principles and spiritual movements. But that is rare, and you'll see as Kali Yuga continues to go, you'll see more and more people no longer adhering to the government leaders and simply living on their own and trying to get away. So it says here they'll go to mountains far and other remote areas of the country. It's already happening. Next verse. Okay. Sakyam Mula Nisa Shaldra Pala Pushpasti Jo Janabaha Anavishtya Vina Shanti Durviksha Karapiditaha. Prabhupada talks about this verse quite often. Harassed by famine and excess taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, roots, flesh, while honey, fruits, flowers, and seeds. Struck by drought, they will be completely ruined. Srimad Bhagavatam authoritatively describes the future of our planet. Just as a leaf disconnected from a plant or a tree dries up, withers, and disintegrates, when human society is disconnected from the Supreme Lord, it withers up and disintegrates into violence and chaos. Despite our computers and rockets, if the Supreme Lord does not send rain, we shall all starve. This verse is spoken by Prabhupada a lot because he's saying this is the future. There will be shortages of food, there will be excess taxes, and there will be, because of people not being pious anymore, there will be less rain available. Anand Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyanana Sambhava. The Bhagavatam says when people are pious and religious, then rains come, and then they have all they need in order to grow crops and to maintain themselves with grains and various types of foodstuffs, vegetables, milk products, etc. But here we also see this is being done to some degree in the present situation. There's famine in many parts of the world. There's it's like I was told by some bill has quadrupled, the food prices have doubled and tripled, and various types of increases, and even shortages of foodstuffs are no longer available. Like baby food is no longer available in the United States and other places also. So this is as Kali Yuga continues, these things will increase: famine, excess taxes, drought, and various types of calamities and chaos is caused by selfish and demoniac government leaders who like to fight with other governments in order to gain more power and prestige in the world. This is all going on. What you read in the news today is not really what's happening in the world. What's really happening in the world is not given in the news because they don't want to reveal how things are really going on, because people would be protesting in the streets if they would find out how bad things are. But it's gradually withering away, and there's more and more calamities. So we're also seeing, even today, the effects of Kali Yuga as it comes. The demonic class of people will increase. Spiritual people will find it more and more difficult to practice religion and their own spirituality. And as it says here, because of the disconnect from the Supreme Lord, everything disintegrates and you have violence and chaos. Next verse. Next verse. Sita Gatata Pravrihim Himmaya Anyon Yata Prajaha Rupram Yavya Staiva Santa Pisyanti Cha Chintaya. The citizens will suffer greatly from cold, wind, heat, rain, and snow. They will be further tormented by quarrel, hunger, thirst, disease, and severe anxiety. Many parts of the world, this is already happened. In most parts of the world, quarrel, disease, anxiety reign supreme. Mhm. Next verse. Vimsa vimsati varsani paramayu kalonyanam. The maximum duration for human beings in Kali Yuga will become 50 years. Actually, the calculation of the average lifestyle is not correct because they don't calculate the killing of the unborn babies. If they were to put that into the equation, this maximum duration of life would be, as it says here, 50 years or even less. And kill millions, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of babies through these various abortion programs and others. Kali Yuga. Himoneshu duheshu dehinam kamadoshataha vanashramam gautam dharme nasta veda patam yunam pasadam pachure dharmam dasa prayusa rajasu shaura chayan rita himsa nanavriteshu vainishu. Passage goes down the page. Go down the page. Haribo.
Guru Maharaj, your voice is, I think, fainting. I think you might have to switch off the camera.
Anya Prayashya Oshadu Sama Prayasha Sanstu Vidya Prayeshu Megeshu Sunya Prayeshu Sadmasu Itam Kalogata Praye Janishu Karadharmusu Dharma Tranaya Sadvena Bhagavan Akara Rishyati. Translation. By the time the age of Kali ends, the bodies of all creatures will be greatly reduced in size, and the religious principles of followers of Vanash will be ruined. The path of the Vedas will be completely forgotten in human society, and so-called religion will be mostly atheist. The kings will mostly be thieves. The occupation of men will be still lying and needless violence level of Sudra. Cows will be like goats, spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses, and family ties will extend no further than
Sorry to interrupt you, Guru Maharaj. Your voice is breaking. Can everyone hear Maharaj?
No, we cannot hear Maharaj.
Yeah, Maharaj, your voice is breaking. I'm not sure. I think he's not able to hear us as well.
I only got one. My voice is breaking. What can I do? I only have one voice.
It's actually, I think, an internet connection from your side, Maharaj. It looks like it's some issues. So maybe I can read the translation, and then maybe we'll see if we can maybe give the part. Is that okay, Maharaj? Haripur. Yeah. Okay, let me read the translation, and then Maharaj can explain us.
I'll read. Just listen.
Okay.
Significantly, these verses point out that most so-called religions in this age will be atheistic. In confirmation of the Bhagavata's prediction, the United States Supreme Court has recently ruled that to be considered a religion, a system of belief need not recognize a supreme being. Also, many atheistic voidist belief systems, often imported from the Orient, have attracted the attention of modern atheistic scientists, who expound on the similarities between Eastern and Western voidism and fashionable esoteric books. These are of the age of Kali. Ultimately, at the end of this age, Lord Krishna will descend as Kalki and remove the thoroughly demoniac persons from the face of the earth. So, you're getting a very detailed and clear description of the degradation in the age of Kali, both in the environment and in the lives of people. So Lord Chaitanya has come in this age with the Sankirtan movement. And the Sankirtan movement is meant, particularly in this age of Kali, to reverse the trend of demoniac influence and bring about, as is described, a golden era of religion, aesthetic and moral values, truth, and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the year 1486 AD. So within the last 500 and, you might say, 36 years, his movement has gradually spread throughout the world. By the mercy and by the power of the Supreme Lord, this movement will continue to spread. And there will be an increase in spirituality all over the world. But before this actually comes in a, what we say, uninterrupted way, there will be continuous degradations in the age of Kali, as described in these verses. So you will see, particularly in the present situation we are in now, that these qualities, characteristics of Kali Yuga will continue to increase with increases in war, violence, and various types of other illegal and immoral activities. It will get to the point where it will start to degrade itself and turn in. At the same time, Lord Chaitanya's movement will be spreading throughout the world, picking up pious and intelligent people who will see the benefit of this movement and take to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Gradually, this will continue to spread, and soon throughout the world, Lord Chaitanya's movement will be prominent. And this will increase for the next 5,000 years. Now, this is a golden age in the midst of this Kali Yuga. So it's incumbent upon the devotees to understand their role in helping to bring about the golden age as predicted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows past, present, and future. He's giving us the understanding of why he has come to make the entire world Krishna conscious. But before that actually happens, there has to be a cleansing of the dirt and immorality, violence, and bad qualities that pervade the world now. So, as you will see, in the next few years or more, there will be an increase of the bad qualities of Kali Yuga. And at the same time, there will be an increase of the activities of Lord Chaitanya's movement going on side by side. So, as devotees of the Lord, we want to assist the Lord in bringing his mission into vogue by preaching Krishna consciousness, becoming fully Krishna conscious ourselves, and spreading this mercy in any way we can. And the devotees, in a united way, were able to push back this age of Kali. As Srila Prabhupada said, this ISKCON society will save the world in its darkest hour. So the darkness is increasing, that we understand. And as I mentioned earlier, they hide the darkness behind various types of misinformation just to not allow people to understand what really is going on in the world. This is the agenda of the demons to work to destroy the world, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. The demons are out to destroy the entire world. Of course, they can't destroy the earth or the world because it's the property of the Lord and it's under the Lord's care. But they can make a mess, and they're doing that. And so, after some time, then this will implode, and Lord Chaitanya's movement will explode. And as it says in the Shastras, predicted by Lord Nityananda himself, that temple that we are building now in Sridham Mayapur, known as the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, once that's completed, then the entire world will start to flood with Krishna consciousness everywhere. So this is a prediction by Lord, that's why Prabhupada understood the mission of Lord Chaitanya and gave us, he said, build this temple, it will change the whole face of the world. And but devotees have to stay sincere in the execution of the devotional service, perform austerities, give up what they like to do and want to do in order to become instruments in the bringing about of the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. Because in this age, for the next 5,000 years, Krishna consciousness will increase. How fast it increases depends on the qualities of the devotees. It will happen, but it can happen quickly or it can take a longer time, depending on how pure we are in our execution of devotional service. So we have to become more and more fixed in the chanting of the holy names, working together with other devotees in a cooperative way to preach Krishna consciousness, come up with more and more programs to invite the conditioned souls in. And most important, spread the Harinam Sankirtan in every place around the world. And when Prabhupada began the movement back in the 1960s, he started with Harinam everywhere. And because of that, Krishna consciousness spread like wildfire. So here, and Harinam is not being given as much importance as it was when we first started. And that's unfortunate. We need to get back to more and more chanting, dancing, and preaching in the outside world get out of the temples, get out of the homes, and preach to the conditioned souls wherever they are, and spread the Sankirtan movement. On the social level, Prabhupada also predicted the social development of rural farm communities as the basis for devotees to live properly according to the principles of simple living, high thinking, cow protection, cow care, and also agriculture, growing one's own food. The Prabhupada said this will be required as the cities become more and more unlivable due to crime, violence, taxation, and just impossible living conditions for the conditioned souls. Okay, so here's a few things to get a little insight in this age of Kali. We're in the middle of it, whether we like it or not. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. It was really nice after all the bad things of Kali, hearing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's coming to this Kali Yuga, and also the glories of Harinam. Thank you so much. Devotees.
Kali Yuga Pavana Kali Boyanasana Sri Sachinandana Kali Yuga Pavana. He is the merciful manifestation in this age, Kali Yuga Pavana. Kali Boyanasana. He destroys Kali Yuga. Nasana means to destroy. Sri Sachinandana Namrain. We don't really know how powerful and how merciful Lord Chaitanya is. And if we adhere to his movement of chanting, dancing, distributing Krishna consciousness to the conditioned souls, we will taste the happiness of Krishna consciousness, despite the horrors of Kali Yuga becoming more and more prominent.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for that reminder, Maharaj. It's much needed at this time. And devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. It'll be nice to have your cameras on, please, to take your darshan. If you can't type, please type in the chat box and I'll read it for you. Yes, Supriya Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, thanks for this brief introduction to the future of Kali Yuga. I'm just wondering, why would, when Lord already knows this deterioration, why would he will wait till so long, till everything goes such a bad? Why not he just decides to come now and kill everyone and, relieve all those souls, good and bad, both of them, because anyway, we are not this body, we are not going to kill. Soul doesn't die and body is already dead. So by that definition, why it doesn't come now and instead waits till so long?
He's come down by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kali Kale Namarupa Krishna Avatar. The Krishna is incarnated in the sound of his name. He is the incarnation of his age. By chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can destroy the effects of Kali and push back Kali Yuga. So everything is there. It's just up to the devotees to take charge and do it. The Lord allows the conditioned souls to have their independence, because giving the independence to the conditioned souls is their nature. We are independent to a certain degree. So the misuse of independence is the reason why people are the way they are. So he doesn't interfere with that. He puts the three modes of material energy into place, and the modes work accordingly. If people are sinful, the demons are prominent. If people are horribly sinful and violent, the Rakshasas and the Yakshas are prominent. And if people are pious and religious, the demigods are prominent. So people make the climate of the world according to their activities. And now we have a very sinful world. Just like man-to-man marriages or same-sex marriages are allowed now everywhere, starting to go everywhere, which is completely against religious principles. And the arrangement of God, marriages for the procreation of children. So many things that are happening in the world now. Women don't even regard their unborn child as important, so they'll simply abort the child, not knowing that's a live, living being who has been placed in their womb by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So committing violence against unborn babies, committing offenses against the Supreme Lord. So this is happening more and more. Lying, cheating, stealing becomes a way of life. If a person can cheat and get away with it and make a lot of money by cheating, the person is considered to be intelligent and expert. These are some of the verses we read previously. Money talks. If you have money, you can do anything. If you have money, you're popular. If you have money, you can control. And so everyone is chasing after money. And as Prabhupada said, if there's some wrong activities in the world, if people have money, they can cover up the wrong activities by just paying the right people in the right place. Money is the honey. Character, kindness, and good qualities of the human being is being slowly eroded by the lifestyle of Kali Yuga, where everything centers around money.
Thanks, Maharaj. Supriya Mataji, I can't see, but I hope it answers your question. Thank you, Maharaj is saying. Thank you. Thanks, Mataji. Any other questions? Yes, Raj Prabhu, please go ahead. You're on mute, Prabhu.
Sorry. Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj, all glories to all of the Vaishnavas present. Maharaj, I'd just like you to expand a bit on what you mean when you say the Sankirtan movement will hold Kali Yuga back, because when we look at even as devotees, we're already deeply impacted by the age of Kali Yuga. We have so many physical restrictions placed upon our bodies. We have so many financial restrictions because the very, very high taxes and the hidden taxes and the invisible taxes that people don't even know they're paying. That means like 2/3, 3/4 of our income is soaked up by the government anyway, one way or the other. And then we have our mental capacity is also restricted in this age. How much? So we're already struggling to try and keep up this Sankirtan movement. How can we actually overcome these issues and actually make a real difference?
Well, we mentioned when usually we wake up when things get so bad. But that's foolish. Well, we should be aware, just like when Lord Chaitanya was personally present, he inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. And when the ruling order, the Kazi, tried to stop it. He came in, broke the drums, and threatened the devotees that if they did it again, he was going to plunder their homes and riches. When Lord Chaitanya heard that, he organized Harinam Sankirtan on the house of Chandkazi. And when he did it, millions of people came from all over the universe to join in that Harinam Sankirtan. So by that pastime, we can understand that this is the power of the holy name. By spreading the holy name everywhere, every town, every village, every home, gradually push back the effects of Kali Yuga. And mass Harinam Sankirtan. Wherever the devotees are out in the streets doing Harinam Sankirtan, everything is auspicious. One of the most vibrant and flourishing temples in the movement is right in your own country, in Soho. They do Harinam all the time, every day. They go out and distribute books. The temple is a vibrant, very powerful and vibrant temple because they're always bringing in new people and there's always Harinam going on, book distribution going on. And so this is an example in a microcosm of what could happen in the macrocosm. All we have to do is follow these simple rules and regulations. But we might say, in general, we've become spiritually lazy. And we just take it easy, chant our japa, eat some prasadam, go to the temple once a week. But, you know, for instance, even in the UK now, it's known that there are programs going on everywhere throughout the greater London area. Every night of the week, there's more than one program going on. I go to other places in the world, nothing's happening. You know, people get together on the weekend, and the rest of the week they just work and take care of their families and take care of their jobs, that's all. But that's not Krishna consciousness. So we have to be out there, active, preaching, doing things, instead of sitting in front of our computers and wondering what will be the next heating bill, which will go up automatically. So there are many devotees who are giving their lives to spread this movement, and there's others that are just so lazy they don't want to do anything. But that's not Prabhupada's movement. Look what Prabhupada did. He was every day, every night, he was fully absorbed in spreading Krishna consciousness, 24 hours a day. Because of that, the movement spread so fast. Prabhupada told us, he said, we could take over the world in 18 days, but you're not ready. He told us that. As we become purified, Krishna empowers the devotees with more and more opportunities to spread Krishna consciousness. It's up to us as an individual and as a collective groups to bring about Lord Chaitanya's. So we should be thinking, what am I doing to spread Krishna consciousness? That was Prabhupada's words. He said, each and every devotee should preach Krishna consciousness. Not that a few devotees are preaching and everybody else just takes it easy. That's why he said, build these farm communities where you'll have more time to practice Krishna consciousness. You'll be able to take care of your material needs in a very simplified way. And then it will be much more easier to attract the conditioned souls. If we're no better than the conditioned souls in the way we live, then what is the use?
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
I travel around the world. Some places in the world are so dynamic that preaching and more devotees are coming. In other places, it's like Sleepy Hollow, it's just devotees are not doing anything. So we need to inspire each and every devotee to get involved with the preaching movement. And preaching is fun because you learn so much, you meet so many nice people, and you can go deeper into the philosophy and into the practice itself. But everyone will say, but Maharaj, we have our jobs, we have our families. Yes. That's why Prabhupada would say, build these farms, live together in community, share resources, share labor, work together as a group. Krishna consciousness is community. It's not individuals living on their own and expecting to somehow survive. How much money does each one of us spend just to live? We work so hard to get the money and we spend it just to maintain our livelihood, which is not necessary. Maintaining livelihood is very simple. All you need is a place to live. You need some nice place to live. You need some education. You need some, family care. And you need food, obviously. All this is provided by nature. So Prabhupada said, for every city temple, there should be a farm community. He says the farms will grow food and various types of milk products. We'll have restaurants in the cities. The restaurants will get supplied from our farms. We'll cook nice food and offer it to the conditioned souls. They will become attracted to Krishna consciousness through the process of eating. And our temples should be places of education, not
Sorry, there is a pause from
classes going on.
side. Yeah.
Prabhupada said there must be classes going on all day in all of our temples. When people come in, they can hear the philosophy, they can learn. Not like the Christian churches, they're open once a week and the rest of the week they're just like silent places of a few bats running around in the rafters and a couple of old people coming once in a while and a custodian cleaning the place. It's not going to be our temples have to be vibrant and dynamic. And it's not just a weekend program. It means every day of the week. So there's a lot to do. Prabhupada said, we have so much to do. Just practice Krishna consciousness to spread Krishna consciousness. So each and every one of us should think, what am I doing to help Lord Chaitanya's movement? Besides my own sadhana, what else am I doing? You know, just like in Russia alone, there's 100,000 devotees in Russia. And that's one of the most dynamic yatras, spiritually dynamic yatra in the world. Prabhupada went there in 1971, met a few people, and because of that, gradually things spread underground. And finally, after so many years, it started to go overground. And gradually the communist influence started to wane. And kirtan, book distribution started to spread everywhere. So that's an example of a very dynamic movement. What's happening in the Ukraine now? There are thousands of devotees in the middle of the war there. But Ukraine right now is leading the world in book distribution. Can you imagine? The devotees in the war zone have been preaching and distributing books in the midst of this war. This shows that the power of Krishna consciousness. And not one devotee has been killed, except for those devotees who joined the military. Outside of that, no devotee has been killed in the preaching movement at all. So when you're preaching, you're protected. First, they're careful. You have to be careful. This is the material world. But at the same time, they're not influenced by a difficult situation. So I'm just giving examples. If we go around the world, we see Krishna consciousness in different shades, different flavors, different intensities. Some places are, flying high, and others are yet to even get off the ground. So, Lord Chaitanya's movement is Nam Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva, Jivadoya. Jivadoya means preach. Well, you might say, I don't know so much, how can I preach? That doesn't matter. Whatever you can do, whatever you can join a preaching movement, assist, or other programs that are already going on, start something yourself. Just like during the lockdown, preaching increased tremendously all around the world. More books went out during the lockdown than any other time. The boys were not, deferred or deterred by the lockdown. They thought of different ways to preach Krishna consciousness. So whatever you're doing, do it better. Whatever you're doing, do it more.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And you can do that. The idea is the devotees to stay together as groups. Individually, we can't do so much. But if we work together as a team and groups, we can do so much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. This was really very, very inspiring and encouraging, and I think a kick for all of us that, and you always do that. It's really nice to hear that you always inspire so much that, do something for Srila Prabhupada's mission. And it's really touching, and yes, definitely. Yeah, it hits me in my head that yes, do something.
Well, I know you're distributing books, so that's good.
Yeah, most of us, like everyone, Raj Prabhu came, Raj Prabhu, actually, I should say that Raj Prabhu inspired his brother-in-law to do the Harinam. So he came to South London, and he, for 2 to 3 hours, he was like one day, 4 hours continuously. he was doing Harinam, Raj Prabhu's brother-in-law said that was very inspiring, very, very nice.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Scarlett Mataji. I will quickly read the question. Hari Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your holiness, and all glories to assembled devotees. Please forgive me nowadays when everything costs so much that one can't afford to buy Shastra books or attend spiritual retreats. What to do?
Just do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. Material situations are not impediments to Krishna consciousness. If you have the desire and you try to fulfill that desire, you will get help from the Lord. He will help you. Where we are in our practice of Krishna consciousness now is not where we want to be. We should always think in that way.
Thank you, Maharaj. I hope that answers your question, Scarlett Mataji. Thank you, she's saying. Yes. Any other questions? We have still 5 minutes left. So anyone? I can see Shridevi Mataji is fully covered. It looks like it's snowing in Mayapur or wherever she is.
Is Mayapur cold?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, it's pretty cold out here, and my apartment is especially cold.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If there are no other questions, then we can close the call. Maybe let me see.
Parijata, where are you?
Not in the next building.
You're in the next building, huh?
Yes, Maharaj.
I'll meet you tomorrow. Today
Yes,
is a
Maharaj.
little bit difficult.
Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj just wanted to see you for like 10 minutes. Is it possible?
Say again?
Why don't you meet briefly also today, because tomorrow I have a conference